that is the alternative use of funds that some of us are pushing for. Okay, it might not necessarily be that all that even in the market intermediation, there should be specific sectors of the economy where we know that we don't have competitive advantage, and these are critical needs of our people. Okay, so let's say electricity, yes, fine. Maybe food to a large extent, but food, I don't even see why, because food, we can produce the food in Ghana. There's no food we cannot grow in Ghana, from soya that will feed the chicken and the cattle to the chicken itself. We can produce them here. So put in $1 billion there, put in $2 billion there, and grow a local manufacturer to occupy that space. Thailand did that. There's a company called CPF Foods. Thailand did that. So the CPF Foods is the largest food producer in the whole of Asia. It's a privately owned company. They are doing 3 million birds a day, chicken and ducks. They do tilapia. They do shrimps. They have become one of the largest food exporters in the world. It was a deliberate government policy to grow a particular business and a particular sector. And this is just for protein. So they do chicken, ducks, beef, piggery, and shrimps and tilapia. Yes, these are the products they produce. It's called CPF Foods. Okay. You can read about them or find out about them. And today they're one of the largest food producers. So we can do that, but it has to be a deliberate effort and a deliberate, judicious use of windfall funding, not just as import cover. Import cover, yes, fine, but for critical sectors that we think we have competitive advantage, we must invest some of this windfall in those critical sectors, and that is what will transform our economy from the Gettysburg agrarian economy to what the likes of Singapore and Indonesia have become.
You call this long term,
yes,
and what is being done currently, I guess, is intended to be the short term approach. How do you expect government to do this side by side?
Exactly. So, we have our traditional sources of forex that we use to support the currency, cocoa sector, and then our traditional exports of oil and gold and all that. But this time, gold has given us a certain windfall. So we could have still done the market intermediation, but not in that large quantum. We could have still done it because we got a windfall on the gold side of about maybe $7 billion. We could have easily put in $2 billion or $3 billion and still have a similar effect, okay, of stabilizing the currency, because cocoa proceeds will come in a little, others will come in a little. I mean, for cocoa, I know that we did some forward trades, futures trades with the cocoa, so maybe it might not have brought in that much. But whatever it is, we had our traditional sources of forex. So adding a little to it would have stabilized the currency. You see, it is not just the value of the currency that matters. It is the long-term stability that matters, because that is what allows businesses to plan. So even if it is 15 cedis, and the person knows that it's going to be 15 cedis for the next 18 months or 21 months, he can plan and prepare his production and everything within that price band and be competitive. Because even if you have a strong currency, it's not necessarily good for your export or for your manufacturers. But unfortunately, in Ghana, our manufacturers are mostly, let's say, at the second tier, where they literally only package the raw materials here, or package semi-finished products here. So a bulk of their raw material is actually imported, But in economies that are export-oriented, a strong currency is not necessarily the best for you, because it makes your goods expensive on the international market as compared to somebody with a weaker currency like China does. And that is one of the reasons why America has always been fighting China, that China has been suppressing the rate of their currency, and their currency must be stronger than what it is, just to make Chinese goods cheaper on the global market. So for exports, it may not necessarily be the best for us, but for imports, obviously, a stronger currency makes you buy more on the international market and be able to sell within your economy. But in the long term, that is not good for us. So a tactical balance, I'm using the word tactical in quotes, a tactical balance of deliberate support for private businesses that are in a particular sector that we think we need to grow. Let's say food, let's say soya bean, because it's a base material for animal feed and the poultry industry, the protein in the poultry industry. So you are doing a critical investment in something like a soya bean milling plant that is doing 5,000 tons per day. It might look very big, but that is the scale that you must be at to be able to compete with the chicken producer that is going to come from Brazil. So once you have put in that one, then you do the backward integration of building the farmers and farms and outgrowers who will now feed the plants. You might even begin by importing the raw soya bean from other jurisdictions like the USA. Today, the Chinese are not buying US soya bean. So we can go and negotiate with the US Soya Bean Federation and tell them that, look, we will put in a plant in Ghana and buy your soya bean at this price, so that we now develop, whilst we are developing our soya bean farmers, we are also developing our poultry farmers. We are developing. So that is a long-term vision of winning yourself and also becoming an exporter or a big player on the market, even for Africa, because for Africa alone, our population is going to double by 2050. The young people in Africa are going to double. We are going to feed about 2 billion people. So becoming a breadbasket for Africa is not necessarily just being doing agrarian farming. No, there should be a deliberate effort to invest in such critical investments in the supply chain and in the food chain process, so that at the end of the day, our chicken will end up at 100 cedis per whole chicken. Today, there's chicken on the market from Turkey at 100 cedis. There's chicken from Brazil at 100 cedis. And Ghanaian chicken is going to sell for maybe 150 cedis or 200 cedis because the feed is expensive, because the scale is small. We are not doing the large numbers that we need to do. So even our small farmers that we have, the farmers that we call large farmers, are not as big as they should be.
And that's why you are proposing that in the case of you prefer if they direct that investment into usually raising five large scale.
The top 10, top 10 in Ghana, the likes of Boris B and the ones that are in the Bono area, Asedukeches area. There's a lot of poultry farming in that area. Pick the top 10 of them and pump in $100 million to them. And you see the change that they will bring, because they will employ more people in their places. If they cannot do 1 million birds a week, they will be doing 500,000 a week. Easily. Because we are not building, it's not expensive to put up a chicken coop. Maybe $2-3 million you can put in a very big poultry farm. So just imagine putting in $100 million in 10 farmers. We will not have to import chicken for this Christmas. Trust me. I know that the capacity is there. Even the technical capacity is there in the ministries, in the agric ministry. The technical people we have trained, yes, the veterinarians, they are all there. We have the capacity. It's just the political will to invest in such critical areas. And this could have been done with this windfall. Okay. We've had windfall cycles, maybe generation after generation. Before time, there was a little bit of windfall. Somewhere around at Hamilton's time, there was some windfall on the oil side. So we've had some windfall. Now we have a good windfall on gold. In fact, it's been running for almost a year or a year and a half. It's even being projected to double by the end of by June 2026. Gold prices are supposed, if you check on Bloomberg, it's going to go up to about $7,000 an ounce. So we can project and know that we can have this kind of revenue if we're able to do sustainable gold mining, and then use that revenue to support, not just to support traders and importers, no, to support critical manufacturing that would also create jobs, create alternative wealth, you create other opportunities for the people of Ghana, and gradually we'll transform the economy. If we're able to wean ourselves off one of the largest things, which is, for example, poultry products. It's one of our largest imports. In fact, funny enough, one of our largest imports is actually excavators. What are the excavators going to do? They are going to mine. Okay, so after mining, what do we do with the excavators? Excavators don't do anything else apart from maybe construction and other things. But if your economy hasn't grown to take care, to use excavators after the windfall of gold, what will happen to all these excavators that are on the market? And we have spent about $3 billion importing excavators. So is that critical use of our money? No. We have them in excess that now the excavators are being used to do crime, in quotes, galamsey. So these are, policy decisions that I know that the government has the capacity to make. But sometimes we also have to re-echo it, because sometimes, because of political expediency, we are always looking at the short term, preparing for the next election. And therefore, something that is so long term becomes unattractive because you want to do something that will make your people happy and give you a second opportunity. So something like Ekuko Kitinkiti, it's good. Some people will be happy with it, but it is not, in my quote, strategic. But when you are done with it, what will happen is that, yes, you have created some jobs for some people, maybe a mass kind of poultry activity, but it's not competitive. Okay. Some of them will even fall out because at the end of the day, they don't see the benefits. They are not farmers. But if you strategically invest in 10 of your large farmers, trust me, they will feed Ghana and maybe feed West Africa. Burkina and all those people pick their chicken from us. They buy their chicken from Brazil, they pass through us, they pick from Tema. They pick from the large importers. So, hello?
Yes, and I just want to thank you very much.
Oh, I'm grateful
for speaking to us this morning.
I'm grateful. Thank you very much.
Nino NORTEY, who is a former member of parliament for Tema Central, he says he does not essentially disagree with what Honorable Taisa said, but even the concluding part of what Honorable Taisa was saying before we lost him on the line, bail him out. That there's a need to look beyond today. That whilst we are doing the intervention today, we should also look at how to make ourselves more dependent on what we produce, self-sufficient, and perhaps sell to the sub-region and move into the entire Africa and see how, so that we can earn some foreign revenue, depending on ourselves, so that we stop buying Akoko Fos. If we reduce those kind of appetites, stop buying so much rice from outside this country, reduce the rice imports among others, it helps us. When we depend